Okay, with the Azerbaijan race coming this weekend, we need to talk about Delusions. McLaren got a chance to clinch both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship if Red Bull's form continues. But if McLaren got a chance, as a delusional Ferrari fan, why not Ferrari and Charles Leclerc? So first, let's look at Ferrari, because that's a little bit less delusional, which is because, well, it's rather easy, and if you look at this website, which was created by some guy called Mark Weasel, you can simulate the possibilities, and in the best case scenario, if Ferrari achieves 2 1-2s in a row in Azerbaijan and Singapore, so Carlos Sainz, you need to stop pulling your weight up. Please. Anyways, if they do that, Red Bull will have to be the 4th fastest team in Singapore and the 3rd fastest in Azerbaijan. And if that's the case, as you can see here, Ferrari will take the lead in the Singapore GP, with McLaren just 1 point behind. Now, mathematically, for Ferrari to win the World Championship, they need to outscore Red Bull by 5 points, and McLaren by 4 points each race, starting in Azerbaijan. There are upgrades coming for Azerbaijan. Well, they said they're coming, so hopefully it fixes the bouncing problems, and so if it does fix it, we are looking at a possibility of Ferrari becoming world champions. It's definitely possible, but how about we get more delusional and look at Charles Leclerc? Now, for Leclerc to win the world championship, he needs to outscore Max Verstappen by 11 points each round starting now in Azerbaijan. And at the same time, he needs to keep Norris at bay by 3 points. This means if Charles wins every race from now, Max Verstappen has to finish 4th and no higher, okay, maybe just 1 podium, and Charles Leclerc can take the lead in Qatar. Now, the chance of Leclerc winning all the races is unlikely, but it's not impossible, and I will come back to that later. So for now, we need to throw in a DNF for Max and Norris to help Charles Leclerc. Let's say Max and Norris comes together in Azerbaijan, and like last year, the Singapore GP goes bad for Red Bull, but a little bit more worse, so Max finishes P8 behind his teammate, Sergio Perez, and by God above, Mercedes finds pace to be the 2nd fastest ahead of the McLarens. Like last year, but even better basically for Mercedes, and even worse for Red Bull. That would leave Charles Leclerc with a 40-point gap with 6 races to go. Now with that, Charles only has to outscore Max by 7 points per race, and there are 3 sprint races as well. So this is a lot more doable if Mercedes help takes points from McLaren and Max Verstappen and Charles finishes on the podium in at least 5 of the 6 races, with some of them being wins. Well, actually most of them being wins, but I think some of them would work too. Now, something like 2013 Sebastian Vettel type dominance can happen, as McLaren and Ferrari, and Red Bull for that matter, are just 1 upgrade away from pulling clear of the rest, considering how close they are to each other. McLaren has the most stable car right now, so they are likely to make the jump to start winning races continuously. But Ferrari got the better driver right now, no offense to Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. And it does look like Ferrari might have better race pace and tyre management if they find the pace. And hopefully the Azerbaijan upgrade brings more pace, and it could bring Charles Leclerc back into contention, or maybe a 9th race streak dominance like Sebastian Vettel. But again, the likelihood of this happening is as low as me making $5,000 in the next 2 weeks. Although I got a PayPal account link below in the description, so if you like my content and care to help out, you can drop a donation in there. And if I can make that $5,000 in the next 2 weeks, then Charles Leclerc can definitely win the 2024 World Championship.